And that is the most unique thing that we have as Gambians. Like, we interact with one another, we live with one another. It doesn't matter how big the family is. We share everything, no matter how little it is. And people are content with that. That even if things are going hard, you can still observe smiling faces under each and every person that you meet along the street. So that is a plus for everybody in the Gambia. And that is why I'm a proud Gambian and a proud African. And I believe I can make it. And I'm going nowhere but in the Gambia. Nobody's going to do it for us.
That's right.
If we are all running away, when are we going to make it? We have to stay in Africa, develop in Africa, and then show to the world that Africa have a better image than the one they portray in the West. I think this is what we all need to do as Africans, and then we promote that as Pan-Africans and also as Gambians.
Excellent. I couldn't have said it better myself, actually. I propose that you come and do some shows with me. This brother's got it going on. Yeah. But seriously, I think that the misrepresentation of Africa has, it permeated my brain, and I knew, because I was coming from a Pan-African background, but still, the images are forced upon us. So I think you young Gambians have a responsibility to show the other side of Gambia, the Gambia that, we diasporians and many people in the West don't see. They just don't see it.
Exactly. I think that is the work of the academics. That is the work that we need to do as young scholars. For far too long, people have been portraying Africa negatively to the outside world. And we know that that was done by individuals whose sole aim was to dominate Africa, to exploit Africa's resources, and then to continue to colonize us politically. Now, our role as academics, as young scholars, is how do we make sure that this picture is changed from the literature itself, going back to rewrite the books, to rewrite the history of Africa, and then to show to the world that we have a better image that the world is actually seeing as of today. And then you also come to realize that we need to invest in Africa, because foreign investment always leads to capital flies and etc. Because people who come in and invest, at the end they can take all the resources, and then you come to realize that it becomes another challenge for us. But when Africans invest, the money stays in Africa, which is a plus. It can enhance, it can help when it comes to employment, when it comes to coming up with all the facilities and then enhancing the development that we own, that we all desire as Africans and etc. I think that is what we need to do as we speak, and that is what we all Africans need to be thinking into that particular line, like trying to see how we can repent that particular picture shown by the outsiders about Africa. Because in fact, let me tell you, there was this quotation that I read. It was actually done by a British parliamentarian, Lord Macaulay, in 1835. He speaks about Africa, and then he said, in order for the West to dominate Africa, they need to overthrow our very backbone, and that is our education system. When we believe that everything that is Western is correct, then they can dominate us forever.
Exactly.
And that is 1835. They've been working on those bases. So today it is high time, because we know the realities. Let us try to rewrite the history. Let us try to work again and attract investment in Africa by Africa.
This world is all about branding and marketing. The #1 branders in the universe is the United States. They made the United States seem like it's the best place in the world to be. It's the land of the free, home of the brave. I go there to find and chase my dreams. We have to be able to tell our own stories. Directors, filmmakers, entertainers, it's going to be clearly, and the press, it's going to be your job to redefine how people think about Africa. Because you're here, you see what's going on. You clearly can see in a vivid picture the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you choose to put out there is what the world is going to get. Because I can tell you right now, in Chicago alone, there's more people dying in Chicago than there was in the war in Iraq. But you would never see that. There's a lot of things that's happening in the U.S. that you would never see, because they choose to show you what they want you to see for... It's about country integrity. You have a certain reputation you have to keep. No one puts their family business out into the street. One of the problems we have in Africa is that when something happens, the press is quick to put out negative energy and quick to put out a negative story. And then that story goes onto internet, then other broadcasting systems take it, and they post it. So when you look at places like Kenya, for instance, that I know of, maybe what, 2 terrorist attacks? But it was everywhere. So now people was afraid to go to Kenya because somebody shot up the mall. But then when you look online, there was over 25,000 attacks in the US, but you only knew about maybe 5 or 6. So we have to really rebrand. And then when you look at how the world perceives Africa, they're right. You know, you see zebras, lions, tigers, bears. Oh my. You get to the point where you think Africa's just a big jungle. The images that they're showing of Africa is historical images. This is way before civilization. This is when they were still, you know, battling with spears, like times of Shaka Zulu. No, I'm serious. But then when you look at the US, they're showing Superman, Batman. You know? Where is our Superman? Where is our, like, Shaka Zulu should be a superhero today. Really. So we have to tell our own stories. I mean, even Jesus is white. And you believe it. But it's okay, because how you were framed, if you taught something from the day you were born, and your mother taught you that, your father taught you that, it's real. You never look at your mom and your dad as liars. But their mother and father taught them the same thing, because that's the kind of history that's put out for them to believe. Our history books in the US is all white American history, culture that's been borrowed from other nations. But Africa have to teach the same history of our ancestors, the great things that they have accomplished. You know? And it's going to be the jobs of directors like yourself, filmmakers like yourself, to narrate that story. How do we want to be perceived? How do we want that story to be narrated to the rest of the world? This younger generation, we kind of figured it out. Because now, when you look at hip-hop in America, every rapper is rich. Gold chains, Bentleys, nice girls by the pool with bathing suits in this big mansion. And then, when the video's over, they get on their phone and call an Uber. They don't even come in the Bentley that you just saw in the TV. But you go to Nigeria, we got Wizkid, Davido, P-Square, all these guys driving a Bentley, Mercedes. They actually own those cars. That's the difference. But if we don't translate that, they will never know. They think we're going to leave the shoot and go home on a horse or a zebra. Because that's what they know. This is why African Americans are so afraid of Africa. You mention Africa, they start shaking. There's so much fear. They don't know how to translate that. It was just recent that people are now saying, yeah, man, you know what? I rock with Africans, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to do some collaborations, man. Yo, man, I need an Afrobeat remix, you know what I'm saying? But before, they'd be like, man, I don't know that dude. I'm not putting him on my record. So the younger generation is slowly understanding how you have to rebrand the culture, because the culture has adapted. They've actually took everything that we've created and made it look better. They made a superstar look like a superstar. When I look on TV and I see our biggest entertainers, they don't look like stars. That's why you can't really respect the entertainer. If a politician saw a singer, he'd just be like, oh, he's just a local singer. But if he go to that local singer's performance, he may sell out the stadium because he has a huge influence, but the image is not there. So we have to take the image as a huge accountability for ourselves and realize that Africa really does have a reputation. But if we allow our stories to be told, our stories will be told according to their agenda on what they need to be able to benefit from Africa. So we have to tell our story so we can be able to understand how we can utilize that story to benefit for our agenda. You know? So in closing, this job is for the entertainers, the filmmakers, the reporters, and anyone that creates content. We have to rebrand. And we have to rebrand it in the way that we see it and tell the story to where they can understand it, feel comfortable, and want to come here and invest. Right?
To add to what AKon